Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Azimio la Umoja are regrouping. And why am I saying that Azimio la Umoja are regrouping? Peter Munya, who was agriculture CS in Uhuru Kenyatta's cabinet, who was amongst the founding members of Azimio la Umoja, has resurfaced and has shared information ahead of Wednesday Sabasaba protest. Peter Munya is saying he is going to hold rallies in the morning in Meru, and I've just seen this information that has just been shared here about Munya's schedule. He's saying that on Monday he announced that he will lead a morning rally in Meru town, an afternoon rally in Mudhara market, and an evening rally in Maua town. This rally is in respect, I think, to the latest plan by Azimio la Umoja to decentralize the protests, and you will see different Azimio principles are now being dispatched in different areas, specifically and strictly to spearhead anti-government protest and signature collection. You may need to ask yourself, has it worked? I think it has worked, because you see Oparanya on the other end. You see what happened in Kisii. We saw Kalonzo Musyoka was in Machakos. Martha Karua was in Kirinyaga. And it has visualized, it has enabled the Azimio activities to get visibility on ground, unlike the initial arrangement where everything was done from Nairobi. So this is something that is happening. Secondly, I want to make a political observation in respect to this move by Peter Munya. Peter Munya has been taking a low stand, a low profile, after William Ruto took over power. And I remember the latest one, the last Azimio la Umoja was, I think that was last month at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Foundation. He was there. But on Friday, I was in Kamkunji, and I witnessed something that when Raila Odinga was going to Kamkunji, he was in the same car with Mwangi wa Iria, and then behind, in the car behind, there was Maina Njenga, who is the former Mungiki head. And so, after that, there was information on what exactly is the stake of Mount Kenya inside Raila Odinga's circle. In fact, Raila's circle is increasing, and most of Mount Kenya leaders that are within Azimio are coalescing around Raila Odinga. So you'll see Martha Karua, you'll see Jeremiah Kioni, you'll see now Peter Munya. All of them seems to be coalescing around Raila Odinga. And now this is a very clear information, rather this is a very clear signal that I think as far as we saw, we were actually feeling like Azimio was done, but some forces are regrouping. And I think William Ruto must really prepare himself for a very fierce battle, because forces within Azimio la Umoja are regrouping. Peter Munya is a force to reckon with. And I want to believe that he's a man who still enjoys the inner circle of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. Mwangi wa Iria, with Martha Karua and the other leaders, they're increasing around Raila Odinga's circle. In politics, there is one variable that is normally constant, and that is interest. Everything else can change, but when the interests converge, people can always meet. And of course, there is that which this country is going to see. I want to tell you something that the Azimio rallies are actually bringing, leave alone the tangible. Before we make a political interpretation of Peter Munya, I'll tell you something about what actually this country is staring at. But allow me to remind you about Sarah Tieno's last mile challenge. We are finishing this challenge on Wednesday. We lost Sarah, and we've been around her, supporting her medication when she was diagnosed by acute leukemia. But we lost Sarah on 26th, and we are doing a last mile challenge to support the family on the last expense, bit of some bills that are still hanging, and the welfare of the boy that is still that was left behind. So we are reaching out to you to support this. Those who are already replied, I want to say thank you very much for those who are responding, and we will be closing it on Wednesday midnight. Now, you can interpret Azimio activities reflecting on your political affiliation. Those who are in government or those who are pro-UD are saying anarchy should be arrested, this and that. But there is something that is coming out clearly. The country is rolling back in an electioneering period. We are rolling back. When you see leaders like Peter Munya now calling rallies, I will not be shocked to hear that Mombasa, maybe Hassan Joho is back in the fold. And I will not still be shocked if you hear that in Nakuru, the Kenyan is back. They're coming back because this country is rolling its sleeves for an electioneering period. You know why? It's because the urge to remove Ruto from power is not about time. It's not about the constitutional threshold. But it is about the demand. It is about a grand failure. That the gap between what Ruto promised and what Ruto is doing, or what so far has been done, the gap is widening. And that is why I saw Ruto bloggers telling us that we should not judge him with what he said at campaign trail, but we should judge him on what he's doing now. You know, that is political thuggery, because that is political conmanship, because you should just do what you promised. You cannot promise, then come in government and start cooking other things that you do, and don't want us to question what you said, because what you said is what should actually reflect what you're doing. There is some three interpretations of Peter Munya's move. I want to be very brief here. Peter Munya is visibility in Azimio la Umoja is actually boosting the stake of Mount Kenya in Azimio. And if the Azimio think tanks are looking for a strategy to seize Mount Kenya from the government side, then I can tell you I will support them to invest 90% of the resources, the time, and the techniques and the strategies to ensure that that is it. If there is a region that is perishable and is very slippery now, in fact, in the whole our political ecosystem, this is the Mount Kenya region. They voted for William Ruto because of two reasons. Three reasons. Number one, Uhuru Kenyatta is a bad person. But if you ask them what he has done, no one seems to have a reason, because they want to punish Uhuru Kenyatta. Number two, they voted for William Ruto because of an overnight success, the hustler nation. We are going to build it. The hustler nation. There are two reasons. It was a protest against Uhuru Kenyatta, and number two, some imaginary success. And there's a region that voted for Uhuru Kenyatta for twice. William Ruto is not one of their own. William Ruto is from the Rift Valley. And he penetrated let me use the word penetrated the region, by even manipulating, I've always said, manipulating the young politicians around Mount Kenya. Some of them were even paid money, funded campaign, by using bishops, by giving them weekly stipends, like on Sundays, so that they could preach and also propel the William Ruto agenda. So the Mount Kenya in 2022 is a voting bloc that was bought. It was bought. The leaders were bought that you need to abuse Uhuru Kenyatta. I'll give you, I'll fund you, I'll give you the ticket for the party, I'll give you this CS. That's why the likes of Moses Kuria had to be given cabinet slots, because they are the fellows that started abusing Uhuru Kenyatta. So if it was bought, you know, if you buy something, you need to come with a retainer. For those who are employed, if you are employed, especially in insurance, you'll be getting some retainer. You'll be getting a basic salary, then a retainer for some 6 months. So that's what is happening. After they were given, William Ruto is supposed to give them a retainer. Now that retainer is not there. And the voice of region can emerge. I've always said that Mount Kenya just needed consciousness. And that is what Azimio is doing. They want to consolidate. I'm seeing Nyahururu, Nderin Moride is trying. Meru now, Peter Munya has emerged. You know, governance is failing. Peter Munya wants to be the governor. And I can tell you that if things go the way things are, that woman governor that has been fighting a lot of battles might really have some troubles there. With the first governor, so he will still come up and try his luck. The other second interpretation of the reappearance of Peter Munya, Azimio la Umoja are slowly and secretly re-engineering a constitutional moment. Ask me, what is the end game? The euphoria can be built. You look at what's happening in the courts, the country, this signature collection, it is synonymous to a constitutional review. I think that's it. But then someone told me, when people are signing signatures, and there you did not sign for constitutional change, is there anything that stops you from using those signatures as a move and take them to IBC that people wanted to impeach William Ruto? Must you use the word impeachment in those papers? No. And someone's telling me those signatures can still be used to move a popular initiative in constitutional review process. Let me just revisit the BBI. The BBI was actually stopped by Supreme Court because they said that President, who is a member of the executive, did not have powers to initiate a constitutional review process in a using the popular initiative, because the popular initiative is left for the civilians, for the citizens. But a leader, Uhuru Kenyatta, needed to go the parliamentary way, because we are in a parliamentary system. So the popular initiative could not be initiated by the president. So what I'm also seeing here, if you see these campaigns, these guys have realized that there is something coming up Mbele. And if it turns to a constitutional discussion, you don't want to be left behind. Lastly, Munya is detonating Rigathi Gachagua slowly. It's part of the script to detonate Rigathi Gachagua. If there is a man that will be easily detonated, is him. I saw Murang'a governor was in Homa Bay fundraiser with Mama Gladys Wanga, the best performing governor in Nyanza so far in this term. And Kimani Ichung'wah, Moses Kuria are busy in Kiambu. If you look at Murang'a, Ndindi Nyoro is trying to consolidate. Now Peter Munya is emerging on the other end. I can't remember when last Rigathi Gachagua was in Nyahururu or even in Embu. So this is part of the script to ensure that you finish together. But the moment you neutralize Rigathi there, because he wants to believe that he's the person that made Ruto the president, you have your way. So that's my take. Let's meet in the next. I don't know what you think. Give me your opinion on the emergence of Peter Munya. Thank you.